What is up, beautiful people? I am your wolf brother, Methos from the channel Frost and Fists. Now, I'm normally accompanied by my main man, Freak, but tonight I'm going solo for my first ever video tutorial. So, tonight's tutorial is going to be on my custom brick bases, and you may have seen it if you've seen my showcase for the Cataphractii Terminators, or if you've seen my battle report with Will and his Loyalist Night Lords. Now, the reason I chose to do red brick bases is because my client actually asked me to put red gauntlets on all of his Terminators for a reason that's really important to his story. So I wanted to complement that story detail and really make it pop by complementing the red of the gauntlets with red bricks below. So we're going to go to the video now. I'm going to show you how I make it happen. Alright, beautiful people, check this out. This is a Terminator captain from the Betrayal at Calth set, and that's what I'm going to do these brick bases for right now. So I'm going to take his base and I'm going to draw it. We're going to start with a piece of cork board, and this piece of particular cork material is honestly cork coasters that I got at a little local hobby store called Hobby Lobby. It's a national chain, but at this hobby store I got these cork coasters, pack of 5 of them, and I got them for like $2. So it was a really great deal and makes a real good, cheap basing material. So simply just going to draw some circles around my bases and get ready to cut them out. Now, when I go to cut these out, really important, we want to make sure that we cut on the inside line of these circles, because what that's going to do is it's going to help us prevent having overhang hanging off of the base. If we have too much overhang, and cork can be kind of a real messy material, real easy to break material to begin with. So we want a nice, neat cut to start with. And we're going to rough it up and do some little weathering later. But we're going to start off with some relatively nicely trimmed circles. So, just trimming around. And here we go. Now after the cork board, we're going to do the same thing on some craft foam. And I got a great big sheet of this craft foam from Walmart. Silly Winks craft foam for like $1. Massive sheet, maybe bigger than a legal pad. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna draw a circle around it, cut it out from the inside of the circle, and again, just give us a great start to this base. Now I'm only doing a nice high base, 3 layers of cork, because this is going to be an HQ unit. In fact, it's going to be one of the highest leaders in my client's army. So where this one's going to be super fancy. For the troops, usually I just do the foam straight onto the base and call it a day. You know, nice flat layer of bricks going on the base, put the troops on there, good to go. But this one's going to be special. So now I'm going to take me a pen and I'm going to draw the bricks onto the craft foam. Now it doesn't matter what color pen you're working with, because the ink's not important. You can see I just drew the bricks in there, and it wasn't even about the drawing. What you're doing is you're carving with that pen the shapes of those bricks. So you really want to bear down with that pen or pencil. Sorry for the jump there. I lost a little bit of footage on me completing those bricks, but you can see there, I just followed through with the shapes. Make sure that you're offsetting every other level of the bricks so get a more natural look. Now I'm taking a hobby knife. After I've glued the base and all of those layers of cork together and put that brick on top, okay, made a nice stack. I glued it all together using Loctite super glue gel, and now it's all glued together. I want to represent how some of the brick road is rubbled. You know, it's really battle damaged. So I'm just going in there with my hobby knife and breaking up some of that road. Now what's really cool is that you know what this is going to show. It's going to show some rubble, and he's just standing on the edge of that rubble on the road, you know, just battling it out. And so you can see, pull with your fingers if you need to do some breaking. But for me, one of the best ways, best techniques I've got for messing with these the cork material and really showing some broken, rugged looks is just by taking random sections, pressing down in it with the knife, and pulling away, and letting the pulling motion give me a more natural break in the concrete. So I'll start with the hobby knife, but then I'm going to pull and break. You know, just really chipping off at that cork material. Now when we paint this up and we go over it, those jagged pieces that are broken off, it's going to look, you know, like some actual rubble because of those really weird shapes and rugged edges from pulling the material apart in this way. So it does get a little messy. You can see I've got pieces of cork material, you know, all chipping and falling, lots of debris being created. That's okay. You know, I've got this cloth down on my work surface. It's going to catch most of that material, but it's really going to give us a great looking effect when we make that rubble. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go here somewhere towards the middle. I want to add a busted pipe effect where this rubble is. So I'm going to take the tip of my knife and carve out a hollow section in this cork, and that hollow section is going to be a great place for me to put in that broken pipe. Alright, so for this broken pipe effect, I'm just going to use a straw. This is a shake straw because I wanted a nice big pipe, but you could really use any straw. And all I did was cut it down to the size I want, and I even slit the bottom so that way I could show some of the pipe being buried into the concrete. Now, I just filled that crevice we made, that depression, with hot glue, and then shoved that piece of pipe into the hot glue and into the depression of the concrete. And it holds it there real nicely. Now, to go along with this broken pipe, I want to show some broken pieces of rebar, and I'm going to do that with paper clips. Now, this is just going to be any kind of office paper clip that you would find at, you know, like your work, school. These are jumbo paper clips, and you can get like 100 of them for $1, so real cheap material. Push it in very far into the base. Just don't make sure not to push it out the other side, and clip it off. If your paper clip goes flying like mine, you'll know you did it right. Save time, I'm not going to show it, but I actually added 3 more of those to this, and now I'm going to use some dry deck spackling, also called filler if you're in the UK or another one of my friendly European countries. And I'm just dipping my brush into water and dipping that wet brush into the pot of spackling. Now, you take that mixture and just press it right into the cork material. Okay, so just using a stippling motion, and I'm doing this for a few reasons. First of all, the spackling will help seal the cork. Cork is a very thirsty material, but also I really like how when you stipple wood filler or spackling, it gives a real nice uneven texture that is really great for representing the same kind of stubbly feeling or texture that concrete would have. So I'm going to make sure that I get around all the nooks and crannies, especially this rubble area where the street's destroyed. We've gone in with our hobby knife and made a lot of uneven spots. That especially needs to be sealed up. So just make sure you use a little attention there. If you get some on the pipe, of course, you know, I mean, it's very seldom that rubble would just pull away completely from the pipe totally clean. So it's okay to get a little rubble on there. If you cover your paper clips, don't worry about it. We're going to go back and paint over those anyways. Okay, make sure you get all your nooks and crannies, and then of course go around the base, all those concrete areas, all the exposed cork, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing using a stippling motion, trying to get it in the camera. There we go. And making sure that we get all of that cork sealed up. If you get too much on the base, no big deal. A wet finger wiping around the base will help clean that right up. And if you went a little crazy on top, you got it in the grooves of the brick, well, we want to make sure we clean that out, because the grooves of the brick, that texture is really one of the things that gives it a brick look. So just take your pen and make sure you clean out the grooves real well. Alright, now I've gone and primed this baby black. And now that we've got it nice and primed, we're going to color it up. Some dark pewter gray, some light gray, and some white. And these are just $1 craft paints that I got at Walmart. Very cheap materials, but real good to use. Apple Barrel I definitely recommend. I've already got them here on my nice artistic palette. That's really just a lid to a sour cream container. And then I'm going to take that paint and I'm just going to do a relatively heavy layering of the dark pewter gray. Okay, because that's going to be my base coat for this. Just for the concrete areas. So we're going around the sides, all the concrete areas. Then we're going to go back and we're going to get in all the nooks and crannies of our blown up area, the places where the pipe and the concrete are all exposed in the road. Making sure we get in all our nooks and crannies. And then of course, if you have some concrete exposed inside the pipe like I do, make sure you go in there and color that concrete as well. Now I probably bit off a little more than I can chew, trying to get all these tiny places with a relatively big brush, but I think I can handle it. Again, we want to make sure we get all around all those pipes, all those pieces of rebar. Sometimes when we have, a lot of obstacles or pieces that we've added into our terrain or our bases, it can be easy to miss something like that, but want to make sure that we get all the nooks and crannies. Okay, again, if you've gone a little crazy with it, don't worry about it too much. You can always clean it up later. Now, as soon as that dries, cut forward a few minutes. Now I'm going to really start some actual dry brushing. So I'm taking some of that light gray, and I like to use some of the pluck foam from my model carrying case. It makes a good little wipe off material for my dry brushing. Again, you can see just going through and picking out details with my dry brushing. It's really lightening up that concrete some, right? It's a little easier to see in person, but I think the camera's picking up some of that dry brush. That's okay, because we're going to really make it stand out when we come back with the white and really make just those ridges really pop. Now again, because we're dry brushing, the paint is mostly dry by the time we put it on. We're not going to have to wait too long for this to dry. Then we're going to go back with the white. Good to go. Alright. Now. No, that's fine. That should be long enough. Really doesn't take too long for dry brushing to dry. And again, you see I'm trying to wipe off as much as possible with the white dry brushing. But as I dry brush with the white, you can see it just really make all those high spots, all those stubble and all the raised areas of that concrete really stand out. It's adding such a wonderful texture visually. And I like that because it really gives that kind of stony concrete look. Again, we want to make sure that we hit all the details up and around our pipe, around our rebar, making sure we get a little bit of concrete underneath and above. Really just finding those details and picking them out. I think doing little details like that is really what makes an effect pop. Just that little bit extra. There we go. Now as my paint starts to dry up, just doing the dry brushing a little bit harder. Excellent, excellent. All right, now we're going to lay down some Mephiston red. Now, just lay down some of that on my nice sour cream palette there, and just start laying it down. It's okay if some of that black still shows through, because we're actually going to darken this up and then brighten it again with another layer of Mephiston red. Just make sure you get a nice even coverage. Go all around the sides. Make sure you get the side of those bricks. Give those bricks some depth. Okay, really makes it pop out too when you see it from the side as well as above. After all, these are 3D models. So you want to make sure that you represent how thick the bricks are as well as, the flat surface. Make sure you go in real careful for the broken side. Alright, and just going all the way around. Let that dry thoroughly, because the next step is to use a wash. Alright, so I've let this dry for about 20 minutes, and now we're going in with that fancy gloss Nuln oil wash. And I like the gloss for this because the gloss wash does a real great job of getting in to between the grooves of the bricks and kind of making that the black lines happen, making those bricks pop out in the effect. You can use any wash you like, but I really feel like the gloss washes really make those black lines pop out. Okay, now you put a nice heavy amount down, and while we're letting that dry, we're going to go in and color our rebar and our broken pipes. Now you can see here I'm using a nice coppery color. In this case, it's Gihana's gold, Gildana's gold. There, in the corner of the screen. That's the kind of gold I'm using. I can't pronounce it. Don't judge me. And we're going to go in with the pipe. And really, I think it's cool because once this shake straw, once you lay down that metallic coppery color, the Gerder Birder Gerder gold, as my friend the Swedish chef would say, it really does look like a metallic pipe that actually got busted up in the city here. I think it's a pretty cool looking effect. I mean, I actually have had some people that my client was playing against at the shop actually ask me if that was real copper pipe. And I'm like, nope, that's a straw like you drink through. So I think in this case, that coppery paint does a real great job of making it look like what it's supposed to be. I'm going to go back and apply the same color to the rebar, some coppery looking rebar. You could rust this up and add a rust effect to it if you like. I don't feel the need to do that here. I'm just going to give it the gold effect. And after the gloss wash, again, I apologize, I lost some footage. But after the gloss wash, I went back and just dry brushed a little bit up on just the edges of the brick and across the top. So to bring back some of that brightness. Now we're going to pin the model to the bricks. You definitely, with this cork material, you want to use this cork and this foam, you want to take the opportunity to really secure the model into a base like this. So I've just here taken a moment to drill out the bottom of his feet. Okay, I measured it in, clipped the appropriate amount for that foot. I'm using jumbo paper clips again to pin him to the base, and I'm just going to take I use Loctite gel glue. And I'm going to put some of that gel glue on the end of the paperclip pin and shove that into his foot at the angle I want and let it dry. Okay, I'm going to do the same for each foot. And now I'm going to put him where I want on the base and really press down. And that's going to give me depressions, holes that are going to be guidelines for where to drill out my holes. Okay, holes made from the pins on the bottom of the feet. Going back in with my drill, drilling away exactly where the pins in his feet made depressions. Okay, again, using them as guide holes. I know my big old hand's in the way, I apologize. Alright, but basically I made holes into the cork and the foam there. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some of that Loctite glue gel, my favorite super glue to use, on both the bottoms of his feet and onto the pins themselves, because I want to drive some super glue using those pins into the base material itself. And that's going to give it a nice solid bond. That's not only going to bond it to the top layer of that base, it's going to bond it inside of that base. That's exactly what I want. Once he's inside, I don't want him to get out. There you go. That is the completed effect. And that is how he looks on that brick base. Alright guys, that is it. That is how I make it happen for my custom brick bases. It's a pretty simple process, and that was actually the more advanced, like I said, what I do for the HQ. You could actually just do that top layer of foam, carve your bases in, carve your bricks in, and put that layer on top of the base itself for the most basic version. And you can use it in a variety of ways. I'm sure you guys will find some other ways to adapt that. I hope you liked that tutorial because I'm really proud of how those bases come out. If you like this tutorial, please do me a favor and grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think, or just drop me a line to chat, because honestly, chatting with my friends on YouTube is one of the best parts of my day. And if you have not subscribed yet, please, this Wolf Brother would love to have you as part of the pack here at Frost and Fist. And until next time, stay frosty.